Hello guys, I hope you're well. Thank you so much for not only watching my videos but also asking me various questions about the content I upload, what I do and everything. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you because we are soon making 400 subscribers. That's amazing. We've done a great job in just 1 year. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I do appreciate your support, and if there is any way I can support you back, just let me know. I'll be more than happy. Aww. Today I decided to talk about the Commonwealth essays in details, and what's more exciting is that today is the first day I'll be using my microphone, the graduation gift I got from my cool professor Lois Sensei from Tsukuba University, Japan. So I'm going to use this, and I hope I'll be audible enough in this video. I'm going to be talking about the Commonwealth essays, some of the tips, and I'm going to be giving you some examples based on the essays I have written before. I have been receiving various questions from students. Should we just list things here? Should we write the answers in form of an essay? When you say that there should be a logical flow, what do you mean? And when they ask this, what does that mean? Should I submit my application early? Can I submit again? All those questions are going to be answered in this video, so stay tuned. Well, so the first thing we are going to do, we are going to type in Commonwealth scholarships. It's already here. What we are going to do, we are going to go and click to Commonwealth Master's Scholarships, because you just have to go to the link that shows cscuk.fcdo.gov.uk, because that is the general website for these scholarships. Yeah, so they only show the words, the guideline for master's scholarships. But what if you're applying for other scholarships? What if you want to apply for the PhD and share distance learning and all other scholarships? What do you have to do in that case? Just have to go to apply here. Yeah, after clicking to apply, you come here, apply for scholarships. Here they will bring the themes, the 6 themes, and then here down here you will select a country. Let me just give you an example. Uganda. Yeah, select Uganda, and then I do search. So Uganda is here, and these are all the scholarships that are offered to students. Commonwealth Distance Learning, Commonwealth Shared Scholarships, Professional Fellowships, PhD for least developed countries, Masters, and all other scholarships. So from here, you choose what you want to apply for. And let's just go with the Masters scholarships. Yes. Some students are applying for PhDs, but the essays are almost the same. There is only one part that slightly differs, but most of the essays are the same. So no worries about that. And when we reach that part, I will try to show you. Yeah, I can make a separate video for the PhD because I've also applied for this. So let me just go with this one. Masters. You got to read more. So here, when you come here, you have to really read, the eligibility. Going through the eligibility is really important because it really hurts when you write the essays thinking that you qualify, yet you do not qualify, because it takes so much time to write meaningful essays. So try to know if you're eligible or not before you start the application. And then here there are countries, so you can just go through each and everything here to read about the selection process, the placement, the value, the conditions, and everything. So we are going to go straight to how to apply, and also I advise you to to check about the universities, because they have a list of the universities that have they have a connection that have a connection with the Commonwealth. So you really have to be careful. You have to select a university that has a connection. They have the list of those universities. So yeah, and it's around here. So get time and look for that. So let's just go to how to apply. So yes, you cannot apply to the Commonwealth directly, so you have to go through the nominating body, and you will be able to select the nominating bodies at the beginning of the application. So it's really good for you to know which nominating body is going to help you out or to select you for the Commonwealth scholarship. And when the nominating body selects you, it doesn't mean that you got the scholarship, because they have to send your name to the Commonwealth, and then the Commonwealth does or makes the final decision about your application. So yes, you see here applications for Commonwealth Master's Scholarships for the academic year 2022 are now open. So you just have to click here, and then you go nationality, just have to put in EU, and they bring me back down here to Uganda, and you just have to go to next. Yes, so here you can be a new user. That means that you don't have any account. You can be a new user, meaning that you don't have any account, but if you're a returning user, then you can just log in. So because this is just a video, I'm going to just use a different account, and I'm going to use a different password to make sure that I get access to the application. And then when you submit, this comes, and you go to next. So eligibility, they ask you everything. You, of course, you say yes, right, for you to proceed. Oh, citizenship, because you must be a Commonwealth citizen. I have to choose Uganda as an example, and I go to next. A nominating agency, then you check. There are so many nominating agencies here. There is the Ministry of Health and everything, so I'll just choose Hali. Then next. You can choose anything provided you have contacted them before to ask about the application and if they will be able to nominate you. So it's your responsibility to contact the nominating bodies in advance. Sorry, is this email address correct? Of course, yes. And then you go to so here, if you have already completed this page, you have the title, you put in all this information. Yep, can go to next. Perfect. This is equity and diversity, and you have the right not to answer this, but if you are not in a rush, try to fill this form, because it's important for them to know what kind of students they have on the scholarship. So next, registered for university qualification, it depends, but I'll just say no. But yeah, it depends. If you are studying your undergrad, for example, by the time I applied for my master's, I was doing my undergrad in Japan, so I clicked yes. But now I'll just say no, then we continue, and then we go to university, institution. You just have to fill in all these universities. And then this is not compulsory, because not every student has had the chance to study abroad before applying for this scholarship. So if you have, you can fill in this information, and if you don't, then you can just have to skip it. So if you have obtained some education abroad, how can you answer this question? The question is, Please declare any previous academic scholarships that you have held and any university education you have carried out outside of your home country. If you have studied at any universities outside your home country, explain how this was funded and how the education you received differed from that in your home country. If you have completed a master's degree in the UK, please provide justification as to why you wish to study for a second master's, because this also takes you to the UK. So why do you want a second master's? So anyways, let me just tell you briefly what you can include here. So what you can start with, you can say that because it's limited, it's only 100 words, so you have to be careful. That is in terms of word selection. You can say in 2016 I got this scholarship to study this degree in to study biological sciences at the University of this in China, in Japan, in US. And unlike in Uganda, or unlike in Nigeria, or unlike in Ghana, maybe the level, you have to show what's really unique about the education there. Maybe you had access to high quality resources like well-equipped laboratories and libraries. Maybe you had really good support from your professors. Maybe the classes were conducted in small groups and you had you were guided well. So just have to mention those things that are unique, or things that made your learning simpler compared to the learning you received or the education you received from your home country. Something like that. So I will just skip this because it's not compulsory, and then I'll go to next. Yeah, prizes, this is not compulsory still. Yeah, list any academic or professional prizes, awards, distinctions that are relevant to your application. Here you just have to go to your CV direct. Just to go to your curriculum vitae. If you don't have one, of course you can create one. I will show you an example of a CV. I will I don't know if I'm confident enough to show you my CV, but you can I'm going to show you a screenshot. Yeah, I'm going to show you an example of how you can write things here. Yeah, academic prizes and distinctions. Here you don't have to write an essay, you can just list them down. Just have to list all your professional achievements. List them here. What you have to be careful of is that you have to be consistent. If you have decided to use just a shortened versions of months, it's really important for you to maintain that. This is an example of how you can write this section, and I think we can move on to the next section. So here, sector of your employment. We would like to know the broad sector and the broad area in which you are currently employed. We are aware that some roles are difficult to find, but please respond as best you can. Yeah, so sector of your employment. So here you will be able to fill in all the information. Name of the employer, just have to write the company here, and then your title. What you're doing. For example, you can be a program assistant, you can be a lecturer, you can be anything. Anything you're doing, just write it here, and then from what date to what date. And if you are currently there, that job, and you don't know when you will finish, I personally, if I were you, I would just leave this blank because I don't know when I'll end the job. But yeah, you can just leave this one blank. And then a country of employment, and then responsibilities. So you might ask, how can I write responsibilities? From my point of view, I just have to list them. For example, help with this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And below, yeah, help with this and this and this, handling this. For example, if you're working in the laboratory, you can say help with sample handling, and I try to help various people with various experiments, or you try to get involved in various projects that are done by the company which you're working for. So just have to describe it in the best way, but for me, I just list them. Can go next. References. See, you have to read this information clearly, because they say that you must get, one of the referees must be your recent employer, and then recent academic study, and then a person referee. So you come here down, and then the first thing is, do you give permission for referee 1 to see your application? This is totally up to you. But what I normally do is to not overwhelm people, because they might be tempted to look at the application, and the application is really long. So what I do is, come on, it's fine. Yeah, they have already done a lot to write my reference, so no. The advantage of saying yes is that if you have just joined your new job, the person doesn't really understand you. The person understands you, but they don't fully know you. So by looking at your application, they can see, wow, she has done this. She has achieved this. Wow, so this is her story. Look at her personal statement. Wow, this is amazing. That is, if your referee is a very nice person. That's the advantage of it. So they can write a really nice recommendation for you. But if the referee is not a nice person, because you can never know if the person really wishes you good or bad. I'm not saying that you should judge people like that, but I'm talking about the real world. I've seen many people complaining that their bosses said they don't know them. So you really have to be careful on that. And yeah, so I just said no. But the main reason why I said no is I don't want to overwhelm my referees, because they are already helping me to write references. So they might be tempted to look through the application, and they'll be like, oh, Annette, there is a mistake here. It's not a bad thing, but like giving as little time as they can to write the reference, they finish it, and they also do other work is really important. Professors are extremely busy, so I try to be like, no, it's fine. And then I just try as much as I can to write the essays and look for a person who always helps me with editing my essays. So you say no. But like I told you, it depends. You might be like, okay, this person can see my application. For example, if it's your academic advisor, there is no problem in that. You can say yes. But I think I'm used to say like, oh no, don't disturb people. So I just say no. And then I just continue. Yeah, so here we start real work. Yeah, we've been playing, we haven't been playing, but here we start real work. These are the essays. So there are so many themes. The Commonwealth gives scholarships basing on 6 themes, but you have to choose the right theme. How do you know the right theme? You have to know the meaning of each theme for you to be able to understand what you are, applying under. So let's go for strengthening health systems and capacity. That's what I'm well conversant with. That's what I applied for in all the applications I've done. First, sustainable development goal. There are so many SDGs, so you really have to choose the ones you like. And you have to be careful again here when you're choosing these goals. But at least the first one you will choose should be pertaining to the theme. So I'll go to good health and well-being. Another goal can be, depending on what you're going to write about, and how you're going to formulate your essays. You can always choose any SDG, provided you can back it up with the explanations in your essays. For me, I love talking about quality education, and then there is something that I cannot forget in my life, because I know without it I can't survive, and I think nobody can survive. I go with climate action. So here we're going to start real work now, and the first question is, an important selection criterion is the potential contribution that you will make to international development if you are awarded a scholarship. The thing is that when you're answering these questions, this information, the background information, is extremely important for you to understand the angle the question is coming from. Read it, understand it, and then when you go to questions, you can be like, oh, that means that I will answer these questions, yes, but I also have to bring this element of contributing, how my studies will contribute to the nation scale, that's my country, and then to the international scale. You understand? In your explanation. So the first question is, how does your proposed study relate to development issues at the global, national, and local level? And how does that relate to development issues connected to your theme, the one I chose, strengthening healthy systems and capacity? So here, you just have to, I think this is the in these first essays, in these development impact essays, this is where you have to introduce the problem, introduce the issue, and then see how best this study will help you to solve that issue. Here, I would start with planning. I can't lie to you. Whenever I'm going to write any essays, I start with planning. I plan for every essay how I want the flow to be. I don't start like writing, abruptly. No, I first plan for my essay and see how best the flow will be. Let me just give you an example here. So we have this essay, and how can we best plan for it? First of all, you're going to be like, okay, so what is my proposed study? I'll give you an example. Let me say that my proposed study is going to be related to, let me say, cancer, right? You want to study cancer. So the question is, how does studying about cancer relate to, how does it relate to the development issues at the global, national, and the local level? The first thing you should do is to define these development issues that are linked to cancer. And for you to understand these issues, you have to understand the impacts of cancer on the nation and on the international scale. Go and look for the issues that have been, that have occurred due to cancer. List them down. Here you can be like, okay, so what are those issues? You can say, yeah, cancer is highly related to the economic burden. Yeah, we all know cancer is very expensive to treat. Yeah, extremely expensive. It's one disease that's so expensive. It's the disease that I know that is extremely expensive. So it can easily overwhelm the economies. And if a nation's economy is overwhelmed, this also affects neighboring countries indirectly or directly, because there is no nation that can be independent. And then what else can you do? Then you can see how cancer, maybe how is cancer related to healthy systems and capacity. You can just explain how can it be a burden in various healthy systems, and then you can talk about the emotional burden it has caused, it causes in various families, because it's so sad that we don't have the absolute cure for this disease. And then you can also think about how it also affects, the development of other sectors, for example, education. And in that way, you're relating your cancer studies to education, and how you can say that it's reducing the budget for other sectors like education and maybe environmental protection and maybe human rights, something like that. So just have to find a way of linking what you want to study to the global issues. Yeah, I'm sure you can do that. Just have to think so much, and make sure that they are well connected. And then in your last paragraph, I expect you to talk about how, because the background information says the potential contribution that you will make. So in the last paragraph, I expect you to talk about how your proposed study is going to solve these problems. You can't solve all the problems, but how you're going to contribute to bettering the situation for your nation and for the international community. I'm sure, you just have to think from that angle. That was just an example. and then how you intend to apply your new skills and qualification when you return home. Okay, so here we go. The first thing I expect you to do is to first define the skills. I'll give you an example. You might talk about communication skills, leadership skills, teamwork, and then knowledge. Knowledge will be under your qualification. So how are you going to use that? And that comes back to what you want to do in your future or after your master's degree. So before you answer this question, you must know what you want to do after that. Because if you define what you want to do after your master's degree, then you know what it takes. You need to approach various professionals. You need to meet various policymakers, right? But if you don't know how to approach people, how will you do that? You must develop confidence. You must develop communication skills. You must develop critical thinking, because you're going to meet various people, but you need something called emotional intelligence. You need to be able to read, not their minds. I mean, you can't fully read their minds, but you really have to be able to read the atmosphere and understand how people respond to you. You know your community better. So you know, you at least anticipate how people will respond, how some of them will talk about your suggestions and everything. So you have to develop the skills to convince people, and to be able to do that, you have to have some skills in communication. I'll give you another example. If you want to be in academia, you can say that with boosted or improved research skills. I intend to work at this university to help students, or to transfer my skills there, or help students become better at critical thinking and designing experiments. Something like that. I'm sure you cannot fail to find a way of using your skills, but you have to define them first and know where to use them and how to use them. That's done. Next question is what you expect will change in development terms following your studies. Yeah, so this is based on this question. That's why I told you that these essays are linked. So after you do this, what do you expect to change? Maybe if you have used your communication skills and leadership skills in meeting various politicians or leaders, you can say you expect maybe changes in the policies within 3 years. If you are teaching students how to conduct research, you expect improvements in academic writing, because that's measurable, you know. And then you can explain that you expect an increase in terms of resources that are allocated to maybe education, or maybe to environment protection, and maybe resources allocated to cancer management in your country. And if you used your skills in creating awareness about something, for example, cancer, then you can see how many people are actively participating in activities that prevent or reduce the risk of contracting cancer. And if you're working on the environment, if you were using the skills to create awareness about environmental conservation, the climate crisis and everything, you can write about people who have joined to plant more trees and anything you think that it will change, and you can just include the years. But here, try to be realistic. Okay, don't say that you're going to change the policies in 1 year. Okay, don't lie, my dear. Be realistic. Yeah, be realistic to yourself. And then the last question is how the impact of your work could be best measured. Of course, this is related to this. So if you have written about increasing cancer awareness here you can say, oh, I can check the reduction in the cancer deaths, because if you have increased cancer awareness here, and if you assume that within 4 years people will know about cancer and they'll go to hospitals as early as they can, or once they see that they have some forms of tumors, then you expect that their cancers will be cured, because those early tumors are more easy to manage than metastasized tumors or late stage cancers. So you can say that a reduction in cancer deaths. So you can say something like that, but make sure that it's linked to what you have written above. If you are passionate about science, then your teaching skills, your teaching skills can really attract many students in science, especially girls. So you can measure you can check the number of students who are, doing science or that subject because of your good teaching, maybe very great teaching skills. So you can measure that, and then you can also rely on feedback in the projects, but make sure that you talked about these projects above. In this one, you can use leadership skills to create projects, projects for preventing the problem. Then you can get feedback from the people participated in the project. Yeah, so let's go to the next one. Yeah, so career plans. The selection panel will want to understand how your proposed study will assist you in your career. So describe the skills that you expect to gain from this scholarship and your career plans once you return home afterwards. So the first thing for you is to write about the objectives during the award. Like I told you, yes, these essays are connected. So based on what you want to do, what you have written in the first essays, so write the things you want to gain here. You remember in the other question, the previous question, they asked us, how do you want to use the skills and qualifications when you turn back home? That question should come after this. Yeah, it should come after this, but it comes before this. And that's how it is. So the objectives during the award for you to gain the skills. And the first question that came, how are you going to use the skills, to make an impact in your country and then to the international level. So write down all the skills, all the things you want to do. You want to participate in leadership roles, that is to increase or to improve on your leadership skills. You want to participate in various Commonwealth events, that is, widening your network, and that improves your communication and networking skills. You want to participate in seminars. That's very important because that increases your reasoning capacity. You want to be able to participate in various social events that are organized in the area. Volunteering, in the area you will go to. It can be volunteering or voluntary activities, maybe distributing food. It's been a period of pandemic, so depending on where you are, there are always activities you can get involved in to help the society. So it's not only about focusing on your grades, but it's also important for you to develop other skills, and there is no way you're going to develop all the skills by just studying. No, you can study, you can get good grades, but you also have to know how to stay with people, how to communicate with them. You have to understand various people, you have to know how to treat various people. You have to just learn that various people do exist and just have to respect everybody. You have to learn various cultures, so you have to embrace diversity, diversity and inclusion. But there is no way you're gonna learn this when you are just in your class or just always in books. So you have to go out and meet people, volunteer in various maybe fundraisings. If it's for a good cause, go for that. And participate in various activities and enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. So you can participate in sports, you can you can do so many things. So but make sure that these objectives will help you in the future. You can attend various webinars or various conferences organized by big organizations like World Health Organization, maybe UN, depending on what interests you. And this is extremely important for you. And if you're a PhD student, expect to attend international and national conferences. Expect to be able to to contribute during seminars. Expect to present, because you have to improve your delivery skills, presentation skills. Even for a master student, you need to know how to present your work, because you might know what you're talking about, but the delivery might be really bad, or poor, so you really have to develop presentation skills. And what else can you do? Then I think that's all, but all those are skills you can list here. Yeah, they're very important. And yeah, basically that. Then career plans in 5 years following the award. It's only you who understands this. So write what you want to study, what you want to do. In the 5 years after the award, what are you planning to do? So you come back home, you implement, what you... There is a question that was, let's go back. So here, so this one. So how you intend to apply your new skills and qualification. This one is a summary. For me, I see this as a summary of this question. Yeah, this question, career plans. Yeah, summary of this. You want to know. So you have to explain them. You have to explain them and giving, examples, how you're going to do them and the people who are going to be involved. Yeah, for me, that's how I see it, because these are things that you're going to do, right? You're going to be able to, meeting various leaders. And then in the end, if you want to be in academia, you have to go down here and start explaining what you're going to be doing in your research, what you're going to be focusing on. You can also include why it's important to focus on what you want to focus on, and then you can talk more about your projects. Talk about the projects you talked about in the previous essays, because here in this here you're going to use the skills, set up the projects, but remember that this is just 100 words, so you can't really explain this in detail. So here is your chance, here, plans, to talk more about the projects you want to. You briefly mentioned them, introduced them, so here is where you can talk about them. Maybe you want to set up a early cancer detection project, Here you can mention the participants and how you want your work to be run. And then maybe if you want to set up your own centers, maybe if you want to work for the for any academic institution or education institution, you can note that. But then you can say, then after, I want to set up my own school or set up my own NGO or my own organization. That's a long-term career plan. You can set it, of course, within 5 years, but for you to be fully established, because you need funding and everything, so you can also include that in your long-term career plan. Or also you can say, I want to set up a consultation firm in terms of maybe education and environmental protection. But to do that, you have to be realistic. You need research. You need to do a lot of research. You need collaborations, so you can talk about, what you're going to do and how you're planning to do that. Yeah, basically that. It's so simple. You don't make it complicated. It's so simple. Yeah, and I advise you, try to use simple English. Don't complicate things. These are just examples, so don't think that these are the absolute answers. These are just examples. I'm just giving you ideas, and make sure that what you want to do here has been maybe briefly mentioned in the first essays, or you can bring in something new, but make sure that you first talk about things you introduced in those first development. And we move on to the next one. Preferred institution here. Preferred institution, you can choose any institution. Let me just write and then you can write other universities here, and then their courses, and then they want to know if you have made any contact with the proposed universities. You can say you have applied. I can give you an example. I have applied to this university and I'm waiting for their response. I have not submitted my application, but I'm writing the application currently. You can say, I'm in touch with the supervisor. If you're applying for a PhD, I'm in touch with the supervisor and we are still discussing the project. So at any stage, it doesn't matter. The question might be, will it affect my application if I haven't applied? No. I don't think so. When I applied for this scholarship, I was doing my undergrad, and I had not applied to any university. So I said, I have recently learned about the Commonwealth scholarships, and I am currently preparing to apply to Oxford, Manchester, and another university. Yeah, only that statement. Done. Don't complicate things. Be simple. Yeah, if you have applied, I have applied to this university, and my application, you can say, I have applied at this university for this course, and my application number is this. I have applied to this university, I have received an offer. I have applied to this university, I am going to take an interview next week. Or I have applied to this university, I'm waiting for them to respond. Yeah. Here, would you be preferred to consider an alternative institution if recommended by the Commonwealth? Yes, you can say no. It won't affect your application, but I will go for yes. Why would I miss an opportunity? Well, it depends on how we are, but for me, I would just say yes. Yeah. I'll go for that. Yeah. And then contact with proposed universities, you can say that this is needed. Yes, so you can just go to next. And here they just asking for study outline. Make sure that you write this in the language that people do understand. So don't use a lot of jargon. I know you are all experts in your own fields, but remember that even if the person who's going to do your personal statement is from a science section, science is broad. So the way I write, there are specific terms that are used in cancer that are not used in, in other areas of science. So try to be as simple as you can. I'm telling you, it's not about how good you are at vocabulary and very, very good, new words and everything. It's all about how best you can present your point in the simplest way possible. The simpler, the better. That's my advice. Various students have asked me, do we have to make a list or we just have to write an essay? For me, I would advise you to write an essay here, but if you want to just list it up, it's fine, but it's hard for me to just list a study outline, because you have to understand what they want here to know. They want to get a summary of what you want to study. That's what they want. Seriously. And for me, it's hard for me to just list this, no. I just have to write what I want to study, why I want to study it, why is it important? Why is my study important? Why is it important to my country and to other countries? So that's what I want to include here briefly. I briefly include it here, and then I talk more about the subject. If you are a PhD student, I advise you to first discuss your study with your proposed supervisor. You reach out to them and then decide on what you're going to be studying, and then you just write, in about 100 words, summarize that, introducing, the problem. So this is the problem, and we want to do this to contribute to solving the problem. And then this is describe. This is when you're going to expand this. You're going to write everything here. The difference here is that for a master student, you just have to focus on the how the classes are conducted. You can mention about the small groups, you can mention about the small groups and what the class contains. You can talk about the modules. For example, it contains the module about cancer prevention, and this is really important for me because when I'm talking about, or when I'm conducting my cancer awareness projects, I need to apply this knowledge, So just have to link this to what you want to do. So they offer this. So how can this help you to reach their goals? The goals you talk about. You remember? Yes, or your career plans. You can say you can say we shall also have a chance to do various presentations, and this will boost my public speaking skills, critical thinking, and anything else. And then you can also mention about the dissertation project, and this will really boost your research skills. If you want to be in academia, you can say that I will be working on this, I'm planning to work on the dissertation title, or in this area, or in this field, and this will improve my research skills, which I really need for my career. So you can talk about so many things. So just have to write. For a master student, write what the course will give you and how it will be conducted and what you expect to gain. And then you can also talk about quizzes or discussions with your classmates, and you just show how that will improve your critical thinking and reasoning, and something like that. Yeah, something like that.
So what about a PhD student?
First of all, you have to indicate the importance of your study here, and then try to introduce the research question. But for you to introduce the research question, you have to bring the background information that links well, oh my goodness, make sure that your essays link up properly. But you have to plan for each and every essay for you to be able to do this, and you need practice actually. So the good thing about this is that there is a guide. You have a guide. They have asked you to include all this information. But even if this information is here, you need to define your own plan and find various ways of answering these questions, but incorporating things that are really important or things that shouldn't miss in your plan of study. You have to introduce the problem, and then after you bring in the background information, facts, and then make sure that you reference your work. Cite other people's work. Okay, cite, it's very important. And then you after introducing what has been studied before, so introduce the problem. For example, if it's cancer, you can talk about the deaths, and you can talk about, if you want to study about cancer treatment, right, you can start by talking about cancer treatments that are available, and then you focus on what kind of treatment you wanna study about for your master's or for your PhD. And then after that, you talk about the research that has been conducted about that treatment, and maybe in combination with other treatments. And then after that, you introduce the question. So various people have studied this. So what is the problem? The problem is here. How do you want to solve it? You want to work on maybe a specific mechanism or a specific system, and what is that system? You define it in simple ways. Then after that, you go to methodology. How do you want to conduct to do this work? Then you list the methods you're gonna do. Maybe you're gonna have classes, theory classes, and then you're gonna have at the end you're gonna have a dissertation. That is the practical part. For PhD student, I expect you to list the techniques, the biological techniques, Western blotting, and all the techniques that will be used in conducting your research. And this goes back to the importance of you contacting your supervisor in the first instance before you write this application, because your supervisor knows specifically what you're going to use. The projects can change anytime, but still it's important for you to have, because your supervisor knows far better. You will never know more than your supervisor. So your supervisor knows, what techniques will be likely to be used and everything. So contact them as soon as you can to know the methodologies you're going to do, and then the ultimate goal of your research. And you will wrap up. And then you go to keyword for your study. If I'm going to be studying about cancer, then I can say, that is the first thing. Actually, that's my study, right? So I can just write that. Then the next word can be what I want. Other things that I want to do. It can be maybe research. It depends on what you have written here. Just choose the 3 words that really, summarize your proposed study. So we continue to the next question. So the next question is your personal statement. and you have to summarize the ways in which your personal background, this is very important, personal background has encouraged you to want to make an impact in your home country. You should indicate areas in which you have already contributed, such as having overcome any personal or community barriers to or in higher education. This is just an example, so I don't expect you to only talk about your contributions in overcoming any barriers to higher education. This was just given as an example. So many students misunderstand this, so try to talk about where you have contributed, okay? Not only in education, but also in other fields, because we are working on various things. Yes, so here I expect you to have a very good flow. Again, here you have to make a plan, personal statement. You just have to introduce who you are. They want to know who you are. I mean, what was your childhood, life like? So they want to know that, and how has that influenced you, or how has that induced you to want to